Jonny Greenwood was born on the 5th of November 1971 in Oxford, England. His brother, the Radiohead bassist Colin Greenwood, is 2 years older. Their father served in the British Army as a bomb disposal expert. The Greenwood family has historical ties to the Communist Party of Great Britain and the socialist Fabian Society. When he was a child, Greenwood's family would listen to a small number of cassettes in their car, including Mozart's horn concertos, the musicals Flower Drum Song and My Fair Lady, and cover versions of Simon and Garfunkel songs. When the cassettes were not playing, Greenwood would listen to the noise of the engine and try to recall every detail of the music. He credited his older siblings with exposing him to rock bands such as The Beat and New Order. The first gig Greenwood attended was the Fall on their 1988 Frenz Experiment tour, which he found overwhelming. The Greenwood brothers attended the independent boys' school Abingdon. The Abingdon director of music, Michael Stinton, recalled Jonny as a charming student and committed musician who would spend as much time in the music department as possible. Greenwood's first instrument was a recorder given to him at age 4 or 5. He played baroque music in recorder groups as a teenager and continued to play into adulthood. He played the viola in the Thames Vale Youth Orchestra, which he described as a formative experience. "I'd been in school orchestras and never seen the point, but in Thames Vale I was suddenly with all these 18-year-olds who could actually play in tune." Greenwood also spent time programming, experimenting with basic and simple machine code to make computer games. According to Greenwood, "The closer I got to the bare bones of the computer, the more exciting I found it." At Abingdon, Greenwood brothers formed a band on a Friday with the singer Tom York, the guitarist Ed O'Brien, and the drummer Philip Selway. Jonny, the youngest, was 2 school years below York and Colin, and the last to join. He was previously in another band, Illiterate Hands, with Matt Hawksworth, Simon Newton, Ben Kendrick, Nigel Powell, and York's brother named Andy. Greenwood initially played harmonica and keyboards for On a Friday, as they had fired their previous keyboardist for playing too loudly. Greenwood spent his first months playing with his keyboard turned off. No one in the band realized, and York told him he added an interesting texture. According to Greenwood, "I'd go home in the evening and work out how to actually play chords, and cautiously, over the next few months I would start turning this keyboard up." He eventually became the lead guitarist. Although the other members of On a Friday had left Abingdon by 1987 to attend university, they continued to rehearse on weekends and holidays. Greenwood studied music at a level including chorale harmonization. In 1991, the members of On a Friday regrouped in Oxford, sharing a house on the corner of Magdalen Road and Ridgefield Road. Greenwood enrolled at Oxford Brookes University to study psychology and music. He left after his first term after On a Friday, signed a record contract deal with EMI. They changed their name to Radiohead and released their first album, Pablo Honey, in 1993. Radiohead found early success with their debut single, Creep. According to Rolling Stone, it was Greenwood's gnashing noise blasts that marked Radiohead as more than just another mopey band, an early indicator of his crucial role in pushing his band forward. And Greenwood also played harmonica on Blind Mr. Jones's 1992 single Crazy Jazz. Radiohead's second album, The Bends, in 1995, brought them significant critical attention. Greenwood said it had been a turning point for Radiohead. "It started appearing in people's best of polls for the end of the year. That's when it started to feel like we made the right choice about being a band." On tour, Greenwood damaged his hearing and wore protective ear shields for some performances. Radiohead's third album, OK Computer, in 1997, achieved acclaim, showcasing Greenwood's lead guitar work on songs such as Radiohead's albums Kid A and Amnesiac marked a dramatic change in sound, incorporating influences from electronica, classical music, jazz, and krautrock. Greenwood employed a modular synthesizer to build the drum machine rhythm of Idiotech, and played owned Martineau and early electronic instruments similar to a theremin on several tracks. For How to Disappear Completely, Greenwood composed a string section by multitracking his owned Martineau playing. According to Radiohead's producer Nigel Godrich, when the string players saw Greenwood's score, they all just sort of burst into giggles, because they couldn't do what he'd written because it was impossible for them anyway. The orchestra leader John Lubbock encouraged the musicians to experiment and work with Greenwood's naive ideas. Greenwood also arranged strings for the Amnesiac songs Pyramid Song and Dollars and Cents. Greenwood played guitar on Brian Ferra's 2002 album Frantic. For Radiohead's sixth album, Hail to the Thief, Greenwood began using the music programming language Max to sample and manipulate the band's playing. After having used effects pedals heavily on previous albums, he challenged himself to create interesting guitar parts without effects. In short, in 2021, Greenwood debuted a new band, The Smile, with York and the jazz drummer Tom Skinner. Greenwood said the project was a way for him and York to work together during the COVID-19 lockdowns. The Smile made their surprise debut in a performance streamed by Glastonbury Festival on the 22nd of May, with Greenwood playing guitar and bass. The Guardian critic Alexis Petridis said The Smile sounded like a simultaneously more skeletal and naughtier version of Radiohead, exploring more progressive rock influences with unusual time signatures, complex riffs, and hard-driving motoric psychedelia. In May 2022, The Smile released their debut album, Light for Attracting Attention, and began an international tour. The second Smile album, Wall of Eyes, is scheduled for January 2024, with a European tour to follow in March.